What in our in activities and our estimations of Ukraine, we realize is that the biggest source of emissions are actually in the reconstruction of the country. So these are future emissions that have not happened yet, but will happen in the future. And if we then look at the war in Gaza, we've seen substantial destruction of buildings, and they all have to be rebuilt. So if we zoom into Gaza, that's where I expect that the biggest impact is in the future reconstruction of what has been destroyed. And we're talking about an awful lot of cement and steel that is required, and both building materials are very carbon intensive to produce. So our estimate for first 6 weeks was 5.8 million tons of CO2. Most of these destructions happened in the early phase of the war. So it would not surprise me if we're going closer to the 10 million. The majority of the emissions will probably be related to airplanes, because this is a conflict that's mainly fought from the air. And fighter jets are very carbon intensive. They use an awful lot of jet fuel. So these definitely will be significant. That's a bit different compared to the war in Ukraine. The daily emissions from the military, as they have their bases, they are doing their practices. They're roaming the sea from one base to going to another base. And we have this estimate of 5.5% of total emissions, but this is a very rough estimation because we simply don't have the data. But in the end of the day, we all have to go to a net zero emissions environment in 2050. And you can only reduce your emissions if you know what your emissions are. So we are indeed also calling on the military to be more open about what emissions they have in the first place.